tax assessors assess value, and then it's where you have a fair market value. So what's the difference between one and the other?
What's the difference between the tax assessor's valuation and the fair market value? You sell your house, and I believe that that is their new assessed value that year, so be aware of that, right? And the reason that the assessed values can really change is if you've owned your house for a long period of time, then they have whatever system or formula algorithm that they use to determine the value. And as long as the value is lower than the market value, nobody fights it. Because if that's what your taxes are assessed on, nobody's calling up the assessor to complain that the valuation is lower. So they do tend, on average, to be lower than what the real market value is. And the reality of it is, any assessment, whether it be the tax assessor's office, whether it be an appraiser, whether it be my personal assessment on a property, they're just a matter of opinion. And ultimately, you really never know precisely what a house is worth until you're on the market or whatever, and you're able to really see how the market reacts to it and see what buyers are truly willing to pay at that moment. So even in the best case scenario, it's still an estimate, it's still not precise. But generally speaking, that's why there's a disparity between the two. It's because their system isn't perfect, nobody's is, and all of the taxpayer base prefers their values to be low, so nobody complains. Now, if the value's high, I'm sure that they get a lot of calls because people are now paying a higher assessed value, a higher tax based on the assessed value, and so I'm sure people complain.
Especially, I was going to say, in an appreciated market, market value is going up and up and up every year because people are paying more and more money for the properties, but the tax assessor might not necessarily be reevaluating everybody's assessed value every year. So that's where the lagging comes from. And some people don't want to say anything because they rather pay the lower taxes. But the opposite is also true. In a declining market, the tax assessor's valuation might actually be higher than what someone will pay for your property. And that's when you get a lot of people calling the tax assessors to get a reevaluation because you want to lower your taxes.
Well, watch out. We might be getting there.